So you've been to a million different doctors and healthcare providers trying to get some relief from your chronic pain. And now you're exhausted. Exhausted because nothing's working. Exhausted from getting vague explanations about why you're feeling so bad. And maybe even exhausted from hearing, either directly or indirectly, that the pain is all in your head. Like you're just making up your symptoms. As someone who's recovered from years of chronic pain and as a pain recovery coach, I want to let you know that those doctors who might have told you that the pain was all in your head are actually right, but not in the way that they were suggesting it. Hi, I'm Rob Lieblein. I'm a certified pain recovery coach, and I help people recover from a variety of different types of symptoms using a mind-body approach that helps get them back into their social lives, their family lives, and their professional lives with a newfound sense of appreciation and self-awareness. And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the way the brain influences our experience of pain, even when there's not any kind of injury or illness or serious medical condition present. So let's start by taking a look at what pain is. Think of pain as the brain's alarm system or a warning system that lets you know something's going wrong and it needs attention. So just imagine you fall, you break your arm. It's pretty clear that something's gone wrong, that you need to stop using that arm for a while and go get the medical help that you need so that the bone can start to heal. Or maybe you get the flu and you're really achy and tired, and that forces you to take rest, lay low for a while, and take care of yourself until the virus passes. Or maybe you even place your hand on a hot stove, and you will probably pull your hand back before you're even consciously aware that you're experiencing pain. Now, the thing with pain is, it's not as simple as we once thought it was. The idea of pain used to be similar to the effect of turning on a light. You give a stimulus of flicking the switch with your hand, electricity travels through the wires to the bulb, and you have light. Turns out, through lots of research, that our experience of pain is far more complex and complicated. There's a lot that goes on in the nervous system and a lot of decisions that the brain has to make on an unconscious level before it sends signals of pain to a particular area of the body. And we could say also that pain in this way is subjective. And what I mean by that is, imagine that you are running through the woods and you're trying to escape a bear. And just as a caveat, you should not try and run away from a bear. You can't outrun a bear. But for argument's sake, you are running away from this animal that can be very dangerous from you. And you sprain your ankle while you're running. There's a very good chance that your brain will not slow you down or hobble you with pain signals in that ankle until you are clear of the bear. The brain knows that you are not in danger of getting mauled anymore, and then you will start to feel all the pain of a sprained ankle and be able to give it the attention that it needs once you're safe and sound. Or another example of pain subjectivity is what we call phantom limb syndrome. So a person has a particular body part amputated, maybe it's from the knee down, but they're still feeling pain in that foot, and the pain is genuine. Their experience is real. Or then there's also the example that was cited in a British medical journal of a construction worker who stepped on a 15-centimeter nail that went clear through the sole of the boot, out through the top of it, and this guy was in extraordinary pain. He was taken to the hospital, given some serious pain meds, but when they got the nail out and they removed the boot, they miraculously saw that the nail had passed right between two of his toes and he wasn't injured at all. And even though there was no injury present, his pain was real. He was suffering up until that point. So as we're starting to see, all pain is real and all pain is generated in the brain, and you're not making it up. Now, pain that sticks around for 3 to 6 months or longer is considered chronic pain. And there are times when chronic pain might be expected. Certain serious medical conditions, maybe a person has cancer or multiple sclerosis or some other very, very serious medical condition, you would expect to see pain hanging around longer than usual. But for the most part, our injuries heal, our illnesses pass, and we should be able to get back into life as it was before the injury or the illness. But when pain sticks around for that extended period of time, we say it's become chronic as opposed to acute. And when pain becomes chronic, that is when we start to consider a property of the brain called neuroplasticity. And this refers to the brain's ability to literally change and it helps us to learn new things. So neuroplasticity was at play when we were really little and just starting to learn how to walk. We would push ourselves up or pull ourselves up onto 2 feet and try and put one foot in front of the other. And each time we made that attempt, neurons in our brain were firing together and creating connections for that activity. And with repeated attempts, those connections got stronger and bigger in our brain to the point where we were able eventually to get up and walk without even giving it a second thought. And the same principles applies to anything new that we're going to learn, whether it's playing an instrument, learning a new language, learning how to serve a volleyball, whatever it might be. Now, as Alan Gordon points out in his book, The Way Out, the brain is really good at learning fantastic things, but the brain can also learn bad habits. And pain falls into that category of a bad habit that can be learned by the brain. Too much experience of the brain really reinforces those neural connections of pain. And there can come a point where this system kind of goes haywire. So the brain begins to interpret signals that are ordinarily safe as a threat, and then triggers of the experience of pain in a particular area of our bodies. And that can lead us to experiencing pain in some very weird ways. We can start to experience pain based on different triggers and conditioning. So, for example, you may start to associate rainy weather with having a migraine headache. And there's really nothing about the rainy weather that's causing a headache, but your expectation of that and the brain's processing of that creates the headache. This can even go into the idea of being around certain people. So maybe you wind up with a very stiff neck anytime you get called into your boss's office because your boss is a pain in the neck. But that kind of pain can really be triggered. And when we're in this kind of situation, we refer to that kind of pain as neuroplastic pain. Pain based on signals being sent from the brain in the absence of any real physical problem. Another thing that's pretty amazing is that research has seen that pain, when it's acute, appears in a different place in the brain from pain that becomes chronic. So that acute pain, the stove, the broken arm, the flu, on fMRI imaging, that pain appears in a part of the brain that is typically associated with acute pain. But as pain becomes chronic, researchers have seen that the signals actually move to an area of the brain that is more associated with emotions. One of the people who pioneered the idea of emotions having a huge impact on our experience of pain was Dr. John Sarno, and he practiced medicine for many decades at NYU's Rusk Rehabilitation Center. And he was seeing a lot of people, particularly with chronic back pain, whose physical profile just didn't seem to be matching up with what they were experiencing in the level of pain. And he started to theorize that what was actually happening here was not due to tissue damage or anything that was misaligned physically, but it was more that they were suppressing or repressing difficult emotions. Dr. Sarno focused a lot on rage and anger and fear, and that by not addressing what was going on that unconscious level, that the brain was sending signals of pain as either a distraction from those emotions or as a little knock on the door saying, hey, you have to pay attention to me, to what's going on here. So Dr. Sarno estimates that he cured thousands of people, including people like Howard Stern, who suffered from terrible back pain, and Jimmy Kimmel, a couple of his higher profile patients, from years of back pain just through a psychological approach, getting them to understand that there really was nothing physically or structurally wrong with them, but that they needed to do a little more work on the emotional aspects of their lives and looking at what was going on that might be causing the pain. Now, in the years since Dr. Sarno retired in 2012, there's been a lot more work and a much greater understanding of the role of emotions in creating the experience of pain. And when you couple that body of knowledge with what we know now about neuroplasticity and the brain's ability to change and create and even unlearn pain, that creates a powerful set of tools for healing from chronic pain without injections, medications, and any kind of intrusive means. And this way of healing is not limited to pain. So these principles can be applied to conditions like chronic fatigue, irritable bowel situation, different skin conditions, and more. And it's important to say that this Dr. Sarno was seen as an outlier in the medical community, and this approach to healing from chronic pain and symptoms is still not part of the conventional medical wisdom. While there are a handful of doctors out there who are practicing in this way, it's still far from being in the mainstream. Now, it's important to note that before you start to pursue one of these mind-body approaches to healing your symptoms, you really do need to check in and rule out any serious medical conditions. So don't overlook that, but once you've ruled out a variety of serious possibilities, then it's time to start ruling in the possibility that your pain and symptoms have emotional and psychological roots. And so this mind-body approach to healing may be just the kind of thing that helps bring you the relief that has been so elusive to you. So in other videos on this channel, we'll be taking a more detailed look at neuroplastic symptoms and chronic symptoms that have emotional roots from a variety of different angles. We'll be looking at different techniques that you can use on your own to start the process of healing. And we'll be looking at what you can expect on this healing journey to get a better understanding that you're not broken and that chronic pain and symptoms are not a life sentence. So if this video has been helpful to you, please hit like, please offer some comments, ask questions. I'll be sure to respond to them. And you may also want to subscribe to this channel as well. And if you want some more personalized attention, you can always book a 30-minute free consultation with me to see if a mind-body approach might be just the thing that you're looking for. So until the next video, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.